All right, everyone, well, welcome back. And it's a very early morning here in Australia, and we're going to be breaking down all of the action just from the UFC London card that just happened. So, look, let's start and go from the top down. So, main event, Tom Aspinall versus Curtis Blaydes obviously ends, about 30 seconds into the bout? 15 seconds, shorter than I thought. Pretty bad knee injury by the looks of it. He was in a lot of pain from the get-go, had issues straightening it. Bit of a shame to see that happen. Obviously, hope Aspinall recovers quickly. Second, I heard on the broadcast, it's the second UFC main event this has happened in the last 2 weeks.
Which was the other one? What am I missing?
Ortega,
yeah. Of course. This was pretty shitty though. I mean, good opportunity for both guys. Both guys win. It does sort of put both of them in a good spot. Now, I mean, Blaydes gets the win, but yeah, it's not really much of a win. I mean, 15 seconds in, he's not going to claim. And I like this post-fight interview. He didn't claim it as a win. He wasn't running around, saying, "Oh, I just beat Aspinall." He was, pretty humble about it, which is nice. I like that. But man, you got to feel for Aspinall because Aspinall.
This was his card. This was his card to have the shot. Yeah.
No one likes to see that. So it is unfortunate.
It almost seems like it might have been injured beforehand because they showed the corner reaction to when it happened, and his coaches were disappointed. But it seemed like I can't remember the name, the head coach of Team Carbon. It's Colin. Head coach Team Carbon. He looked like he wasn't surprised this had happened. So I wouldn't be surprised if there was something going into it, but.
It's a shame because it did look like a good start. Like they looked like they were throwing.
They were cracking.
Get after it. Yeah. So.
But I mean, what can you do? We'll move on down to the co-main event. So Jack Hermansson defeats Chris Curtis across all three scorecards. I just thought this was a really good performance by Jack Hermansson. He looked really good. Probably best striking I've seen him do in his UFC career, at least. It's. In terms of where they go from here, Chris Curtis, Darren Till could be a fun one. I
still think, to be honest, they could run a Jack Hermansson and Darren Till back because Till's still ranked. I mean, they're both still ranked. That was a step in terms of rank. If you're going off rankings, like Chris Curtis was ranked. So for Hermansson, he could still go for Darren Till next. Like that, there's no reason to me why that doesn't make sense still. Or I mean, you could do. I mean, he's already fought Strickland. I don't know. Maybe you could run a Kennedy, but I still think that makes sense. In all honesty, I still think that Darren Till and Hermansson makes sense for Chris Curtis. I mean, obviously a bit of frustration, and it's hard because you come in late notice, and I know he said win, lose or draw. When he spoke to us last week, win, lose or draw, it's still a good thing. He went in there and, he got paid for that fight, which is always good. He gets paid. So, got a new contract out of it. But unfortunate for him, but, I don't think it's the end of the line. He fought a great, he went all 3 rounds with Jack Hermansson. Hermansson just played a smart fight. So there's not much you can do in that case. I heard him say to Nixick in the corner, he's just the range is hard to get in. It is
goofy,
hard for Chris.
He's goofy as well. Like he doesn't do like the sort of traditional orthodox kickboxing jab, cross, body kick. Like he fights very goofy, which is a compliment, not a compliment definitely in his case. But no, good performance by Jack Hermansson. Definitely, it looks like he's really tightening up that stand-up, which means I'm excited to see what he can do in the middleweight division. So now we'll go down to the one that everyone wants to talk about. So Paddy, Pimblett, and Jordan Leavitt. What did you think?
If he's going to be the next star, it's what he should have been. It's what should happen. He should put Jordan Leavitt away. That gives a bit more legitimacy, I think, to him now because obviously his first 2 wins, although spectacular, like he was still getting dropped and was pretty compromised in both fights, but came through and fought through adversity and still won. So for him to put away Jordan Leavitt now, it's like, all right, that's 3 straight finishes in 3, his first 3 fights. That's what you want to. That's what you want to see from a guy who's got so much hype around him. If he's going to split decisions, unanimous decisions, it's like okay. But, for him to put away Leavitt, and, Leavitt's coming off a win, I think, you know what I mean? So he was no punk, but Pimblett, for him to put him away in the second with a pretty good choke was, pretty impressive, I think. I think you can start sort of giving him maybe another step up and you gradually increase him. You know what I mean? To seeing where he goes from here. He needs it. It's kind of similar to me in any way, like a Sean O'Malley, where they're slowly building him up. I mean, now they're feeding Sean to the wolves, but give Pimblett, another guy and who's a little bit higher up, and see how he goes with that test, you know what I mean? But yeah, what did you think?
The choke was good. I like how he captured the right arm when he was going for the choke, so that was good. I thought he was losing the fight. I thought he lost the first round pretty clearly. I thought he got pinned up against the cage and controlled. I think you do need to start giving him, as you said, I think you need to start giving him higher level competition. Now, in saying that, don't just give him Michael Chandler like right now off the bat. Yeah. But, maybe someone kind of a fan favorite at lightweight who's maybe skirting around outside the top 15. That'd be a good pick. But it's kind of interesting that he's finished his first 3 fights, but he's kind of not been losing them, but he kind of has been losing them until he wins. It's kind of interesting. Yeah, it is like Oliveira. Oliveira loses until he decides he doesn't want to lose. But no, good performance, good choke. But yeah, I would personally like to see him start getting slightly more ramped up competition-wise. But we'll move on. This was a really sad one for me, Nikita Krylov, Alexander Gustafsson, because both you and me grew up when Gustafsson was Gustafsson. It was essentially him, DC, and Jones at light heavyweight. I think he should stop, because you need to ask. He's not making millions. No, he's not making millions of dollars fighting, and the path back to the belt at this point is very far away. I want to see him be healthy and happy post fighting. I don't want to see a story where Gustafsson goes on like a BJ Penn type losing streak. That'd be really sad for me, because I think Gus is probably one of the best to never win a belt.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was hard to watch because a prime Gustafsson would have eaten those shots for breakfast, and it wouldn't have done anything. If anything, it would have made him stronger.
He could never come back. He retired and he just sort of stay retired. Sometimes they want to come back and they think there's more in the tank. But this is what I said about Donald Cerrone the other week about him retiring. It's like, at least he retired. The first time he goes, no, that's it. I'm not enjoying it anymore. I'm not going to come back. It's not like he thought he had more in the tank, comes back, and then this is what I was talking about. A guy like Gustafsson comes back and then just gets mauled. You know what I mean? His nickname is the Mauler, and he gets absolutely demolished.
Yeah.
Like Krylov, who, 5-6 years ago probably would have beat Krylov. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And Krylov's no punk, and I think, Krylov, I think you could probably do Krylov versus the winner of, even Anthony Smith and Magomed Ankalaev. That'd be fun. I think he might have fought Ankalaev before. Krylov.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
that could be fun. But yeah, it's very sad. But man, moving on. Molly McCann. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm surprised she managed to pull it off again. Not the finish, just that exact finish. I was like, oh, interesting. Yeah, I mean, I like Molly McCann. Do I think she'll ever be a champion? Hard to say. At this point for flyweight, I'd say maybe not. But I like Meatball Molly. I really like the energy she brings. I think you should just have her fight in London every time, because people go crazy for her. Yeah, no, I liked it. I mean, it was a quick, relatively quick fight. But yeah, I like Meatball Molly. I liked the finish. It was really good. I thought it was a really good performance.
I think if you give her the same thing with Pimblett, I think you give her someone higher up now too. Because Hannah Goldy was, she was no punk. Same sort of level, I think, as where your Jordan Leavitt sort of sitting. But I think you could give her someone maybe 15 or 14 and see how she goes with that test.
Yeah,
She's been in the UFC for a little while now, so I think you can start seeing how she progresses. And if she goes well, keep going. You know what I mean? But you don't throw her in there with number 2 or 3. So
no, if she's gonna make a run, she's gonna this would be the time to do it. She's coming off 2 pretty big KOs, but the problem is with women's MMA is the divisions are they're not as top heavy as the men. So the problem is maybe she does get one more win, and then they do feed her, or not feed her, but they do give her number 2, number 1. But we'll see what happens. So look, we'll move on because we like to keep these short and sweet. We'll move on to the kind of first fight on the main card. The prelims were also very good, but first fight on the main card, Paul Craig, Volkan Oezdemir. This kind of went how I thought it was going to go. I didn't think it was going to be the best fight, but I thought Volkan was going to win. Paul Craig's got really slick jiu-jitsu, especially for his back, but his wrestling is not at the sort of level it needs to be to definitively take everyone in the division down. But again, Paul Craig has also shown he doesn't really need it because he can also sub people off his back and full guard. So
it's a shame too because I like Paul Craig. I
love Paul Craig. Yeah,
kind of rooting for Paul Craig in there. But credit to Oezdemir. Oezdemir's been there for a while.
Yeah, I mean, for his nickname, which is No Time, he's been in the UFC for a while now. That fight when let's be honest, they fed him to DC way too early in his career. That was years ago now at this point. So he's been in the UFC a while.
Well, I mean, DC was still light heavyweight champion, which is a while ago. You know what I mean?
2017 or something.
Yeah.
No, look, good fight by Volkan. I actually think Volkan is gonna have a sort of Glover Teixeira type run later in his career. I can really see Volkan later on in his career kind of being this very solid, well-rounded fighter that can just essentially beat everyone. But that's just my opinion. But no, look, top to bottom, really good card. What would you give it out of 10? If you had to give it a rating.
I think I gave the last card a 7.5 out of 10, which was 277. I think with the injury, with the damper on the main event, maybe a 6.5 out of 10.
And obviously no one's fault, but it does dampen the event a little bit.
What do you think?
I'd agree. I think you hit it pretty well on the head, about a 6.5. Good fights, some good finishes, but it's tough when the main event, and again, no one's fault, but it's just tough when the main event ends like that. It's a bit anticlimactic, and it was probably the fight I was looking forward to most on the card. But anyway, we will leave it there just for a quick reaction for the UFC London card. We have a few interviews coming out this week, both with John Hackelman and Sarah McMahon, and we're just going to keep this train going. So thank you to everyone for the support, and we will catch you guys in the next episode.
Peace.